Men kissing or women kissing? Is it better for thine soul to look upon two gentlemen locking lips, or is the sight of a caress between two women a healthier, more fulfilling endeavor? What I'm asking is, which one's better, YAOI or YURI? Yeah, we're going to war today, guys. We're putting Javik and Amiko into a room, and we're gonna see who comes out alive. My money's on A, because she's a god. I don't know, is the twink a god? I haven't watched Arcane yet. I know I'm queer, it's like my obligation, I just haven't had the time, I'm sorry. Anyways, if you have lived on the internet for some time and you exist within the phenomenon that is fandom, then you undoubtedly, most likely, have heard about YAOI and YURI. What is YAOI and YURI? Girl, it's just gay. It's just them queers being queers, alright? There's nothing else to it. The terms YAOI and YURI come from, of course, Japan, where a story that has two guys in love is called a YAOI, and a story with two girls in love is called a YURI. There are other terms like BL, boys love, and GL, respectively, and there's a whole world behind YAOIs and YURIs. We're gonna talk about some more of the terminology later, but I'm pretty sure you know, and if you don't know, you're welcome. I made your life better. The equivalent to the West would just be men loving men and women loving women, but it's so much more fun to say YAOI and YURI. If you have also heard these words, then you know that fandom is very queer. Why is everybody gotta be gay? Is one of the questions normies say when approaching fandom spaces, because everybody's gay. You watch any TV show and the majority of the audience is saying those two men, the titular men, have to bang immediately or I'm going to die. And same for women. So there's a whole culture around shipping. We have talked about this extensively on the channel. Please watch this video here on the difference between Eastern and Western shipping. It's very interesting and has a lot of history in it, and it's very fun. Please go watch it. But with every beautiful thing comes something equally unbeautiful, I guess. And that's war. To the surprise of maybe a few, the YURI army and the YAOI army, they're not the best of friends. You would think gay people love each other. Fans of YURI sometimes dislike fans of YAOI and vice versa. There's a whole debate online between YAOI or YURI. Which one's better? Which one's more valid? Is it fetishization to only like YAOI? Is it fetishization to only like YURI? Are YURI enjoyers really better than YAOI enjoyers? And are all YAOI enjoyers just freaks who are dumb, stupid women because we hate women? Today in this video, we're going to be putting that debate to rest, and we're going to be answering the question, which one is better, YAOI or YURI? Hello, welcome to or welcome back to my channel. My name is E as in Enderman. I don't play Minecraft, but I'm sure there's some YAOI out there of Enderman. Let's look. Enderman YAOI. Oh! Oh! Yeah, there's YAOI of them. And I'm traumatized. Now, don't look up Enderman YAOI. Don't do it. And today we're gonna be working really, really hard on trying to wipe my memory from what I just witnessed 5 seconds ago. And make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. It helps a lot. And each subscribe will help delete that memory in my head. Thank you so much. Thanks. Wow, that stun locked me, my god. No, but for real, it really helps out the channel, and it really helps me continue making these fun videos for you. So definitely subscribe and hit the notification bell while you are there. Also, if you'd like to support the channel even more, then please consider becoming a Ko-fi member. Ko-fi.com/EASocial to be able to see videos like these super duper early and get a shout out at the end of every single video. Guess what, chat? Yeah, I tried out Raid Shadow Legends, and this video is sponsored by them. Girl, I know, but hear me out. Yes, I know you've heard of Raid, okay? I have as well. But genuinely, guys, maybe we memed a little too hard, because it is a lot cooler than I thought it was. And if you were ever curious about it, well, now is the best time to give it a shot, because right now you can get so many free heroes, but more on that part later. So, the gameplay, fire, okay? There's so much content. You've got battles in campaigns. You can fight super tough bosses in dungeon mode. You can fight clan bosses, or you can challenge other players in the many different arena modes. But more importantly, there are a lot of hot people in this game, right? Yeah, we got Miss Luria. Like, hey, she's the dark elf, and the dwarf rearguard sergeant. Also, above all, we got Loki, who is so fine, powerful, and is a legendary character that you can get now for free. Join before the end of June 2025 and use code GETLOKI to get him ASAP. I mean, the face card isn't declining. Also, he's just like so fun. He can steal enemy buffs and 100% of their turn meter, so you can employ a lot of trickery with him, which is perfect for his character, obviously. There is a lot of content in this game, so getting Loki can help you get a running start by stealing from, tricking, and wiping enemies clean off the map to help level you and your champions even faster. But Loki is not all. There are other legendary champions like Green Warden Ruark, Sun Wukong, Alice the Wanderer, and Tuha Narok. New players can redeem one of these legendary champions using the codes on screen. For existing players, there are some promo codes for you in the description and pinned comment. So if you want to look at more hot people and have a ton of fun building, fighting, and strategizing, then girl, you should give Raid a shot. And again, now is the best time to start. Loki is only here for free until the end of June. Plus, if you download today, you can get him plus 2 free epic heroes. Tagoar upon registering, and Tayrel once you hit level 15. Something I wish I had when I started. So please click on my link in the description down below to play Raid Shadow Legends today. And join my clan to slay together. Raid is directly helping me take care of Imam and keep the lights on. So by downloading Raid using my link, you're helping me out personally a ton. So thank you so much in advance. Again, download the game using my link in the description or the QR code right here. Free heroes, tons of content, hot people, and of course, helping me. Thank you so much to Raid for sponsoring this video. Now back to YAOI and YURI. So why do we hate each other? Why does YAOI and YURI Nation dislike each other so much? It's definitely a nuanced topic and there's definitely a lot of reasons behind it, but I think the bottom line of it all is competition at the end of the day. If you go onto AO3, the website of our lord, which is the fanfiction website for fandom, and look at the top ships every single year, 9 times out of 10, even 9.7 times out of 10, the most popular ships are between 2 men. YAOI. YAOI makes the world go round. If I have any say at all, it will continue making the world go round. And at the same time, when you scroll through the top most popular ships of each year, YURI underrepresented. She's not very prevalent. We don't have many of our queer women. So of course, with everything that's super popular, there comes criticisms of why is this so popular? There's gotta be something f***ed up with it, So there's a lot of fighting between why there's so much YAOI content and not that much YURI content. I found this amazing website. Get into this. It's called The Pudding, and there's this amazing article on the website called Who Gets Shipped and Why. I'm gonna link this website in the description. It is so freaking cool. I can't believe I've never found this before, and it's so well made. Anyways, but this entire article and website goes into some pretty deep analytics for the top ships, who make up the top ships, and also the website goes into the reasoning behind why certain things are popular than other things. And according to this article, which took a lot of data from Center of These Lights analysis that they posted every single year on the top ships of years past on AO3. And this website puts it into a really awesome organized drop down. So here we have the top 20 ships. And I believe, if I'm understanding this correctly, this is the list of the most popular ships in AO3 history since its beginning. They say, let's take a look at AO3, one of the largest fanfiction sites in the world. It has over 7 million users who have produced over 13 million fanfics. Doing the Lord's work. Thank you, fanfiction writers. Has anybody thanked you recently? Thank you so much. Oh my god. For this project, we're only going to look at ships with over 1,000 fanfic works, which gives us an ever-growing count of 500 unique fandoms and over 2,000 unique ships. Then they say, let's zoom in into just the top 20 ships on AO3 to see if we can identify any patterns. And here we have, if I'm understanding this correctly, the top 20 ships since 2013. To the surprise of me, Castiel and Dean Winchester from Supernatural, the GOATs, my favorite ship when I was younger, has the most written fanfics about it. Almost double second place, which is Draco Malfoy and Harry Potter. So out of these top ships, I do not believe one of them is YURI. Number 13 are the characters from The Miraculous Ladybug, which I've never watched, but now that's a god-honoring straight couple right there. I think the only one here. Oh my god, Magnus Bane, Alec Lightwood. Yes! So there is no YURI out at all. Sorry, what are you looking at me for? It's not my fault. Oh my god, relax. And Yuri fans are like, what the f, dude? Why is there no homosexual women in this entire top 20? In fact, if I'm understanding this correctly, there's only one woman in this entire top 20. So with Yaoi's popularity and Yuri's not so strong popularity, it brings a lot of questions. It brings a lot of, what does this say about us as a fandom? As an overall entity that exists online? What does that say about us? Misogyny? Fetishization? Like, those are the two main arguments actually as to why yaoi and men are seemingly so much more popular than women. So I have my own opinions on this matter. This debate can get kind of like crazy sometimes. I actually asked you guys on YouTube, what are your guys' thoughts on the yaoi versus yuri debate? I had some of you guys say, there's a debate. Real. You guys are so real. But the majority of you guys gave some really detailed and well thought out responses, which goes to show, one, how cool my community is, by the way. Y'all are smart. Y'all are smart and educated and cool. This demonstrates how hot of a topic or how spicy this conversation can get. There's a lot of strong feelings when it comes to yaoi and yuri. This website goes into a lot of analytics and reasons as to why yaoi is so popular. I've talked about this a little bit in the past in my Fujoshi video, but I want to talk about this debate particular right now between yaoi and yuri. But this website did this really cool thing where they compared two of the most popular fandoms, which is the Harry Potter and the MCU fandom, and they did a study and they analyzed how many female characters there are in each story, like in the Harry Potter universe and in the MCU. 40% of the Harry Potter world is made up of women, while the remaining 60% is made up of men, right? In the MCU, 45% of the characters are women and 55% are men. And though there are less women within the world of Harry Potter, there are just more Harry Potter fanfics that actually contain women. There's an equal amount of Yuri in both fandoms. There are a substantial amount of more fics written with women in them in the Harry Potter fanfiction fandom universe than in the MCU, which points to the question, why? If there's less women in Harry Potter, how are there more fics with women in it than in the MCU where there's more women in it? Sorry that it made no sense, but I think it makes sense. This leads the website, and for me to also concur, that perchance it's because Harry Potter probably developed their women characters better than in the MCU. And if female characters are written better, then the fandom wants to like tussle with them more, play with them, stretch with them, and write fanfic about them and with them, which I think is super, super interesting. The more well-written a woman is, the more fanfics there's going to be about her. But also at the same time, which I think this website tackles, is that our metrics and our critiques for women characters are a lot harsher than those we have for male characters. If female characters are to be the most favorite, they kind of have to be the best written ever for fandom to actually see it. When if we see a guy that's like similar to a female character, but he's a guy, people like him. I mentioned this before in a past video, but I did a test on myself where I didn't really care for the character A from Genshin Impact. I just didn't find her super interesting, but then I imagined her same character as a guy, and hey, sexist alert, I definitely found myself finding him more interesting, even if they were the exact same, just different genders. So I definitely think our level of critiques are a lot harsher for women than they are for men. And I think that's partly due to women have been written so shitty for so long that we have such a bad taste in our mouth that when women are written bad, it's usually objectification and other misogynistic things. So like, we only want the best for our women, but at the exact same time, if we're so critical of female writing, then we only ever enjoy the guys, and then this leads more to yaoi taking over. Another reason why yaoi is probably more popular than yuri is because yaoi always seems to level the playing field. The website says, if popular culture is the male gaze, fanfic is the female gaze. Slashfic evens the playing field by making both characters the same gender. Authors, whatever their sexuality, who struggle to envision themselves in heterosexual relationships with complete mutual respect can subvert societal expectations and project whatever romantic dynamic they want to see onto fanfic. This is also something I talked about in my Fujoshi video, and it's also something that I actually can concur and confirm with myself. I definitely think I have more yaoi ships than I do Yuri. And I remember part of it was me getting comfortable with my queerness. I'm queer, by the way. I don't know if you could tell. The flag's right there. Again, where do I put this flag? And I found out I was queer sophomore year of college. I found myself not fully comfortable reading Yuri, or I just was more comfortable reading yaoi than a straight ship or a lesbian sapphic Yuri ship. And I think that was because I was completely out of the equation. Like, I wasn't in it. Like, my femininity was not in it. And 100% was influenced by power dynamics. I always wanted a relationship, and I've always respected depictions of relationships that were equal, completely equal. And taking me, or my gender at the time, I don't know what my gender is right now, don't ask me, out of the equation, I was able to enjoy yaoi at a distance. Like, this is y'all. This is y'all kissing and smooching. And this is y'all's power dynamic, and I feel safe, and I feel comfortable. Which is what this website is saying, and this is something that I actually truly like experienced and believed in. And I felt like growing up, I was able to safely explore and experiment with my own sexuality and my own comfort with it, because I've been so weird. I've been so uncomfortable with myself and my sexuality. Just very uncomfortable. Reading yaoi, reading Dean and Castiel fan fiction really just was comfortable for me, and it allowed me to explore and learn more about sexuality at like a very safe distance, because I was weird about it. Well, because yeah, I was a kid. So that was my story with yaoi. It was just easier and more comfortable, and it also got me more comfortable just with queerness as a whole, until I found out that I've been queer this whole time. I'm definitely super comfortable and super happy and in love with my queerness today. And that was also through the help of you guys and making these kinds of gay videos in the past, and also talking with you rats on Twitch about queerness. I just feel so comfortable and so loved and enveloped in my queerness now. And I found that around that time when I was like, wow, period, I'm so comfortable with my sexuality right now, I started to get really into Yuri. And now Chlor and Navia from Genshin Impact, I'm gonna start crying right here, right now, thinking about them. You don't understand. You don't understand how much that Yuri ship means to me. That's my personal story with Yaoi and Yuri. I love them both equally. Yeah, the men will be kissing and the women will be kissing if I have anything to say about it. Okay? So that is reflected in this website too. This website also has some really cool analytics regarding the population that make up AO3 or that make up fandom. And yeah, to the surprise of literally nobody, 81% of AO3 authors identify as queer. 58% identify as woman or girl. 22% identify as non-binary. And then of course we've got a bunch of genderqueer, gender fluid, questioning realness. But so yeah, the majority of authorship on AO3 are queer women. So I suspect a lot of queer women had very similar, if not almost the exact same journey that I had with getting comfortable with my sexuality, and with yaoi and Yuri being instrumental parts of that. But the biggest point of contention when it comes to why yaoi is so much more popular, even if the majority of the author demographic on AO3 is queer women, the allegation is still that women who enjoy yaoi are fetishizers and are doing it in a weird f***ed up way. But women who read Yuri, they do not fetishize the women because they literally can't. But the women that like yaoi, y'all are f***ed up. Yeah, fetishizing gay men like that, right. There are different terms for different kinds of people that enjoy these different types of love stories. The fujoshi is the woman who enjoys yaoi. Fudanshi is a guy that enjoys yaoi. Himijoshi is a woman who enjoys Yuri, and himidanshi is a guy who enjoys Yuri. There are more terms and all of that jazz, but those are the terms that people use. So the fujoshi, women who enjoy yaoi, are still seen as like the boogeyman of fandom spaces. The fujoshi is like the disgusting woman who reads and writes yaoi all day, fetishizes gay men, takes away their rights, bullies them, tells them make out. And the opinion is still pretty prevalent for some reason that fujoshis are like the worst thing ever. They're the spawn of the devil. Again, I'd like to point to this video again in the defense of the fujoshi. I go into the whole history of the fujoshi, where the term came from, and why the hatred of them is a little misplaced, and people just don't know certain facts about history and stuff like that, so I definitely recommend going to watch that. It's a great video in tandem with this one. But people hate fujoshis, and that's part, if not the biggest reason, why the Yuri versus yaoi debate is so bloody and is so mean. Is because this hatred of the fujoshi runs deep, girl. It runs deep in our veins, inside fandom spaces. It runs deep. But people think that fujoshi means woman who fetishizes gay men, when really it just means a woman who reads BL. Like, there's no other connotations that go with it. It just means women who read BL. Same as himijoshi is women who read GL or Yuri. It's the exact same thing. There is no fetish in the word. So people are saying fujoshi literally means that. It doesn't. It does mean rotten woman in Japanese, and that's because men gave women that title because they wanted to push women out of the fandom spaces. Remember that. So I really find the hatred of the fujoshi really misplaced because, as we see here from these demographics and as we just look around fandom, a lot of y'all bitches are gay. A lot of you bitches are queer. So at the end of the day, we're really just hurting other queer people because of assumptions and the worst possible interpretation ever made. I was called a fujoshi once and I took offense to it when really it's not supposed to be an offensive word, and if we keep using it as an offensive word, then we're going to be giving the men all the power and all the happiness because that's what they wanted. They wanted us to feel ashamed using that word. They wanted us to feel ashamed in ourselves. I mean, there are of course women out there that fetishize real gay men that are like really weird. I'm sure I've never met one, but I don't really talk to that many people though, so that might be a reason. But there are 100% a few. But then again, what do we not do, everybody? Overgeneralize, right, because that's prejudice and it's uninformed. But at the end of the day, the reason why yaoi is so popular, whether it be because of women trying to explore their sexuality really safely, or it be that the most popular works of fiction that fanfiction are written about just have better written men, or the criticism that we have for those male characters aren't as harsh as we do for the female characters. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. What matters is that it is more popular. And I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing. So Yuri is not as popular, and as we can see from the top ships of AO3 of all time, women characters are also not as popular as male characters. And there's a lot of reasons behind why that we just kind of went into, but a sentiment that has kind of been around in fandom for a pretty long time is this eat your veggies type of thought process, which fanlore.com writes this about eating your veggies. They say, the term eating your veggies is used often mockingly to refer to the idea that being fanish about female characters is like eating one's vegetables. You do it, or should do it, because it's good for you, not because you necessarily want to. This phrase has been applied to femslash and also, of course, to characters of color because the majority of the top ships are also white men too, which is crazy, by the way. I didn't realize. That's crazy. And it has come to be used in two senses. Fans should make an effort to write more or care more about female characters, even if they're not at first inclined to, and eventually they'll come to enjoy it. Fans who are vocal about being fans of female characters or who create fan works about female characters only do so out of a sense of duty or in order to get social justice brownie points, not because they genuinely care about the characters. That last point is an assumption that I'm sure some people do, but I'm pretty sure the majority of the Yuri fan base do it for the love of the game. This eating your veggies is a mindset that, of course, as I said, that is mocked and also sometimes followed. And also, I get it. I mean, the only way to reverse our misogyny is to work on it, because I think we all kind of got internalized misogyny just like a little bit, and working towards it is always better than not. But at the exact same time, this is fiction and you're allowed to like whatever you want to like. I really don't think at the end of the day it's that big of a deal if people only like Yuri or only make Yuri content. I do not think that this is competition. And this actually also ties to my very last video on fandom is officially dead, where I talked a little bit about how I feel like fan works these days and fan content is seen like a right, that like this artist should be drawing an equal amount of yaoi and Yuri, or I want this artist to draw more of this. Get to work, guys, write some more. Fandom and fan fiction and fan art at the end of the day is done for the love of the game. These fan artists are creating this work for free and they owe us nothing. So putting on these unnecessary restrictions on you need to be doing this and you need to be doing that or else you're a bad person is not going to get anyone anywhere. If you want to fix the Yuri problem in fandom, going around yelling at people for being disgusting fujos and or being misogynistic and hating women is not going to change anybody's mind on Yuri, and vice versa. Some Yuri enjoyers dislike yaoi enjoyers because of the whole fujoshi, you guys are misogynistic then kind of mindset, and then some yaoi enjoyers are a little ass, completely throwing away female characters in a work of fiction just so their yaoi makes sense. At the same time, it is fiction and who cares? Don't do that to real life people, obviously. But yeah, if you're a bitch about it, then like f you. Everything in life, just don't be a bitch about it. Thank you. But I do think it's unhealthy to be yelling at each other. We should not be pitting yaoi and Yuri against each other, because at the end of the day, majority of fandom is queer. In many such cases, the queer community is eating itself alive again and again. So as I mentioned earlier, I asked you guys, what are your guys' thoughts on the YAOI versus YURI debate? And here are some of your guys' answers, which I think are super cool. C4M says, I've seen this debate a lot, and in my personal experience, people get a lot more defensive when someone says they like or read more YAOI rather than YURI, but not the other way around, which I understand why some people are weary of others who only read YAOI and not YURI, since sometimes people who only like YAOI ignore or minimize female characters and YURI, but again, that's by no means everyone and just some people in the community. I think overall, YAOI and YURI should live in solidarity with each other because they are both extremely peak. Right! Period. Anna Beatrice 19 says, I mean, it is complicated. You can't force someone to like YURI when they prefer YAOI, obviously, and part of the reason Slash is more popular than FemSlash is that well-written female characters are more rare in fiction. However, it does sometimes really feel like people purposefully ignore female characters to put all of their attention onto men. Then again, there are barely any studies on the reasons why people prefer MLM, and internalized misogyny doesn't sound like a good enough explanation since YAOI fans often are pretty feminist. Calum the Silly Creature says, as a trans pansexual man, I think that there's obviously a place for both in my life. The YURI aspect is relatable autonomy-wise, while the YAOI aspect is relatable because I mostly date men and am one. I think that everybody should try something at least once, but if they find it's not for them, that's okay. Regarding needing to enjoy women, I don't necessarily think you should like a character just because they're a woman. I think it falls to the writers of a story to create well-written women that people want to read about. If somebody isn't liking a character just because they're a woman though, that's on them, and I'm not sure what their problem is. I completely agree. And I think that this is like a vicious cycle that the Pudding research article points out, is that it's this vicious cycle of, for the majority of history, men have been the forefront in everything, especially in our stories, in our fiction. We're so used to, as a society, seeing men be the main characters, and men are just always something that we are exposed to, which in turn makes the audience expect to see men more often. Or, because we've seen men so often, we are more inclined to like those characters more because we've just seen more of them as we've grown up, which of course leads to a new generation of writers who only write men in it, and then of course the audience only ever sees men, so they're more inclined to like more male characters, and so on and so forth. So I think it is sometimes a vicious cycle that perpetuates, and I definitely see that being one of the reasons why YAOI is so popular. I do think there are a lot of amazing female written characters in a lot of these fandoms that are popular, but there's a lot that goes into it. It's not just misogyny. Bumblebee023 says, on the topic of eat your vegetables, I feel like female characters are less appealing to me personally as a woman. They're typically over-sexual or lack good character development like their male counterparts. That's not to say good female characters don't exist, i.e. Fei Xiao. Real! When people tell me I should like a certain female character simply because she's a girl, I start to dislike that character more. There are more reasons, but that's just my quick 2 cents on the topic. Love your content. Oh my god, thank you. I love you. I mean, I definitely think that, as I said earlier, that our criticism for female characters is a lot harsher than for male characters, just kind of in general, because we've been hurt so bad so many times. But yeah, I definitely think people going around telling others you should like this because of this and you shouldn't like that because of that, I don't agree. Dane DeLions says, I think both people are allowed to like what they like, and people should stop and question why they like the things that they like are both valid arguments. Be free to consume what you like, but do it in a critical way. The thing is, not everyone who likes YAOI over YURI will do so because of misogyny. Not at all. There's going to be people that do, and these people shouldn't go unchecked. If you only like YAOI, simply wonder why that is, and why do you not feel so engaged by female characters? I'm a lesbian, and although I do not personally identify as a fujoshi, because I simply find that term doesn't relate to my experience with fiction, my main hyperfixations are MLM or YAOI couples. I find YAOI as a way to explore my lesbianhood. I am transmasc and also someone who has denied being seen as a cis woman at a young age for many personal reasons. I never really got to experience cis womanhood, so I cannot simply relate to cis female characters. Reading lesbian fiction as a really lonely lesbian also makes me sad, so I just project my transmasc lesbianism into MLM. Have to clarify when I say this, I don't mean characters that are confirmed gay, but just ships, couples. Because I find it more comforting to my own experience that way, and it's my way to experience fiction, and finding out about it through reading and thinking of why I like what I like was really comforting to me. I'm not saying everyone needs to have deep personal reasons. If your reason is I just like dudes more, no deeper meaning, that's completely valid. I'm just calling for introspection and a revision of behavior from certain people. Harassment and insults will never be our way of getting this, and this goes for both sides. I also feel like people take the even slightest questioning of their ideals as personal when it comes to this discourse. In conclusion, I wish this discourse wasn't a discourse, as I sincerely believe the discussion of these topics should come from a place of understanding and care. But as the online sphere goes, the conversation can never happen that way. Dandelions, that was such a beautiful response response. I feel like Dandelion's response really goes into how not everything's black and white. As I said in my Gen Z is homophobic video, queerness is messy, beautifully messy. And there's a lot of people who identify certain ways and yet read fiction and romance stories of things that they maybe can't relate to or they're not attracted to. One of my favorite responses is from Lua Cake Toast that says, "A true yaoi fan never speaks ill of Yuri," and vice versa. Because as Isra Med 7168 said, "For the yaoi versus Yuri debate, I have only one thing to say. Enough with the competitions and let the homosexuals be homosexuals." Aye aye. Cheers to that. I want to thank everybody who commented. I think everybody's response was very, very interesting and I loved hearing guys' thoughts. And yeah, there's a lot of discourse around this and I really don't think it's necessary because at the end of the day, the majority of us are queer or are allies. And you'll know pretty quickly when you start talking to someone if they're not. Like if they're homophobic. But that's the thing. We have to actually talk with each other as opposed to putting a label on and saying you're a bad guy and I don't want to talk to you anymore. The Pudding website also really made a really cool point about how the act of yaoi and yuri and shipping non-canon couples in a homoerotic or a homosexual way is also an act of subverting expectations or almost like an act of defiance. As I read earlier, if the world is the male gaze, then fanfiction and fan work is the female gaze. And also another reason why yaoi and Yuri are so popular is because, as we said earlier, sometimes the female characters aren't well written, or like in anime, friendship dynamics are written so well and the romance dynamics just aren't written as well, so that's why the friendships usually have more meat to them. Like in My Hero Academia, spoilers, but I'm pretty sure everybody saw this coming, Izuku and Ochako got together, Uraraka, at the end. I think I haven't finished it, and it was like, yeah, obviously hinted from season 1 that they were gonna be cute together because cute awkward boy with cute awkward girl, ooh, love story. But the friendship or weird arch nemesis ship between Izuku and Bakugo was rife with so much hatred and so much emotion. There's so much tea there. That's why it's the most popular ship, and that's why people wanted it to be a ship so bad, because their story was so much more of a richer storyline than Izuku and Uraraka. I mean, they're cute, but their relationship was not as tea as Bakugo and Izuku. And as you can see here in the top 20 AO3 ships, Bakugo and Izuku is number 8 with 42,000 fics written between those two. People find it problematic because Bakugo bullied Izuku when they were younger. I mean, sure. Like, I just don't want to have this conversation right now. I personally am a Bakugo Kirishima enjoyer, which is also at number 18. Now that's yaoi. Yeah, now that's yaoi. Okay, at the end of all this, everybody leave an F in the chat right now for my amazing editor, Kelpie. Kelp size. Kelp, can you please plug your Twitter here? Because I did this whole video without a script, and God help them. Oh my God, I'm sorry. There's a lot of thoughts going everywhere. So everybody give it up for Kelp, best editor on the planet. For real, for real. Thank you, Kelpie. I'm so sorry. So all in all, at the end of the day, there's a lot of reasons why yaoi could be more popular than Yuri. I don't think it's as black and white as people would like it to be. I definitely think, stop fighting! As this one TikTok put it, we are just eating ourselves alive and we're just fighting each other with no progress being made, and misogyny isn't less rampant now than it was before we started yelling at each other about yaoi versus Yuri. So to end the gayest debate of all time, which one's better, yaoi or Yuri? Both are the best. And if anybody's in here saying, well, everybody who likes this, and this is bad, public square now. We're gonna put you in the public square and we're gonna throw stones. He who is without sin cast the first stone. If anybody here isn't a little cringe, then you can start bullying the other side. By the way, none of you guys are throwing that damn stone, okay? We're all cringe. Thank you so much for remembering that. And yes, I did quote the Bible just now. No, I am not a religious person by any sense of the word. I am a very godless individual, if you can't already tell. But that line does go hard. A true yaoi enjoyer never speaks ill of Yuri, and a true Yuri enjoyer never speaks ill of yaoi. We're all in this community together. We gotta love each other. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Which one's better? I'm joking. No. Which one do you prefer? Which ships do you ship more? Which books do you read more of, or do you read them equally? Which are your favorite yaois and Yuri stories? And I want everybody to share their most favorite yaoi ships and their most favorite Yuri ships. F it. Share your favorite ships, period, regardless of gender and sexuality. Just share your favorite ships. I will allow straight ships too. So while you are sharing your favorite ships down below, and you have to tell me why, by the way, why you like it, I'm gonna share some of my favorite ships. My first YAOI was Destiel, Dean and Castiel. That was my first ever fan fiction too. I wrote a little one-shot between Dean and Cass. That was my first YAOI, I believe. That was my gateway. Big Destiel enjoyer. Don't ask me about the ending. I do not wish the ending of Destiel onto any of my enemies. That was awful, by the way. If you don't know, after like a million seasons of being like, are they gay? They finally had Cass like confess his love to Dean, and then he got sent to like hyper turbo hell and died really bad. And then they moved on. Like Castiel died. Anyways, really sad. Dean didn't say I love you back, by the way. I really enjoyed Kiribaku when I was in high school and I was watching My Hero Academia. I enjoyed that ship. I did enjoy Light Yagami and L from Death Note. Y'all want to talk about toxic YAOI? Y'all want to talk about toxic YAOI? I was there. I was like, right. Write that down. Write that down. That's good. That's tea. That's tea. Right now, I'm obsessed with Navia and Chlorinde from Genshin Impact. There's something about that ship that makes me absolutely bad insane. I mean, I made a whole video on it on Navia Chlorinde just because I needed to talk about it because I was so insane about it. I really like them a lot. Like, there's so much tea. Also, you guys are sleeping on your side, honk shooing on Will and Astarion BG3. Will Astarion. Get into it. Yeah. Sorry. All Astarion Gale enjoyers, I see you, I hear you, and I feel you. But respectfully, you're wrong. Don't get me started on Will Astarion, bitch. And also, Love and Deep Space girlies, Zane and Xylus. Am I right or am I right? Also, Zane and Caleb. Now that's tea. Zane and Caleb is tea. Now that's tea. People who don't know what I'm talking about, I'm so sorry. I think my favorite ship from Honkai Star Rail is Acheron. Black Swan and Acheron. Because again, tea. Tea. Acheron almost destroyed Black Swan in some weird like mental mind palace. Almost like traumatized that woman for life. Tea! Cora Navi is probably like my favorite right now. Also, I'm a fan of Arlecchino Farina. That's a good one. Anyways, yes, share your favorite YAOIs and YURIs in the comments. If you have more of one than the other, there's no shame. We love you. We are here together as a fandom. And to end this debate once and for all, gay people win. Also, while you are commenting your favorite YAOI and YURI ships, please make sure to give this video a like and also consider subscribing because we talk about fun fandom discussions like this all the darn time and video games. We talk about fandom and video games, and that makes me very happy. We talk a lot about representation within video games and within fandom, so I highly recommend checking out my video on Fujoshi if you want to learn more about the history of the term and more of the tea behind the hatred of the Fujoshi. I recommend watching that. If you want to learn more about just the history of shipping entirely in the West and in the Eastern fandoms, definitely go watch my video on that as well. The links will be in the description. And thank you guys again so much for watching. Let me know if you like videos like this where I just kind of like go off the old noggin and just don't have a script at all and just talk. Kelp right now is saying I don't like it, so I will try not to too much, but let me know in the comments down below if you do. And if you would like to support the channel even further, then please consider becoming a member on the coffee.com/ESocial, where for just $5 a month, you are able to watch videos like these super duper early and get a shout out at the end of every single video, plus a special role on the Discord and other benefits. So without any further ado, take it away, future me, to thank our amazing coffee members. So a humongous thank you to Alien Eyes, Jonah, Lewin Drill, Joanne, Moon, Blue X Crystal, Summers, Blue Ink Alchemist, Pauline, Shalami, Onyxide, Atticus, Ayake, Pierre Burner, Suckable, Haley Robinson, Ray Fields, Zendella, Buzz Driver, Wokapi, Blurry, Klee, Pandas Bombus, Friendly Fire, Decals, Kiara, Tronilla, Basil Stanley, Moe, Zilfer, Luel, and an extra special thank you to Topa for your enormous generosity. Thank you so much for the support. It means so much. Thank you everyone for supporting. You help keep the lights on, you help keep this going, so thank you very much. If you wanted to connect even more and talk more about Yuri and YAOI, then please follow me on all my social media. I am ESocial everywhere: Instagram, Twitch, TikTok, and Blue Sky. I do not have a Twitter, but I do have a Blue Sky. Come join us on Twitch. We will be streaming more often soon, and we're very gay over there, so show up. Alright, well, that is it from me. And if I don't see you in the next video, then I will see you on Twitch. Okay, bye!
I was just being a silly, it. There's no joke. My life is in shambles. I was then saved by a giant ice-cold Dr. Pepper.